71 degrees, the world holds its breath. The air is glass. Each exhale turns to frost and drops away. She walks like someone passing through a memory, slow, careful, hands cupped around a wooden bucket of fish. Her boots crunch the snow. The bucket is heavy. The fish are stiff and silver. From a distance, the little cabin crouches like a warm secret, smoke thin as thread above its chimney. She calls it home. She calls it by habit more than name. Her legs are thin beneath a thick coat. Her hands are knotted with age. She has sold fish from dawn for years. She knows wind. She knows which ice will sing and which will snap. Today her step falters. A ridge of frost, a hidden rail. 1 foot slides. The bucket tips, wood splits. Fish scatter like handfuls of small moons across white. She lands hard. The rail presses through her coat and into her hip. Pain blooms as a cold flare. She pushes. Her muscles answer with nothing. Fingers numb. The world narrows to the taste of metal and the sting of frozen air. She tries to stand. Her legs refuse the order. She feels the slow, traitorous retreat of warmth from her limbs. The hush of the plain turns deeper. The rails whisper under snow. Far off, 2 pinpricks of light appear, small and stupid at first, then brighter. The horizon begins to glow. The sound reaches her like distant thunder through a bottle. A hum, a vibration along the steel that runs into her bones. Seconds, she thinks. Seconds, and then she cannot move. If you want more high-stakes survival stories, hit subscribe. This one keeps going. The lights grow. The hum grows teeth. The frozen rails begin to sing a note low and true. Her breath scratches in her throat. Her hands fumble for fabric, anything to pull herself away. Nothing catches. She feels very old. The cold makes everything slow. The train eats distance. Its headlights cut the whiteness into nothing. The world tilts toward a single terrible possibility. A shadow falls across that white. Not cloud, not thunder. A shape with a spine of wind. At first she thinks it is only the sky moving. Then a feather slaps beside her ear. The sound is huge in that small place. The rush of wings like a door flung open. An eagle lands, enormous against the low sun. It scrabbles, talons shearing the crust. It is not tame. It is the wild condensed into a single patient intensity. It pecks at the bucket. It flaps so close that feathers kiss her cheek. It claws at the sleeve of her coat. Its beak nips the cloth, not the flesh. Its talons catch the edge of her scarf and pull. A sharp tug. A push, almost. The bird's weight shifts against her arm. Instinct, calculation, something older than either of them moves the animal. Move. She reacts before thought. She rolls. The rail slides beneath her like a cold blade. The eagle scrabbles, wings beating a wind that lifts the edge of her coat and nudges her. The tug at the sleeve becomes a lever. Her body obeys a tiny margin of motion. She slides. Off the rail. Her hip scrapes the ice. The train arrives with a roar that is more than noise. Air collapses around her. Steel passes where moments earlier there was only cold and birds. Snow explodes in a cloud. The sound presses so deep, she tastes it. When the train has gone, the silence is a new thing. Her heartbeat thrums behind her eyes. The eagle stands a few yards away. It watches. It tilts its head as if cataloging the oddness of a human that could not get up. Then it turns and lifts. It doesn't accompany her back to the cabin. It does not look at her with anything like apology or triumph. It simply opens its wings and is gone. A dark brushstroke against the pale sky. She crawls to the path. She collects what remains of the bucket. She smells smoke and wood sap when she reaches the cabin. Inside, the walls close around her like an old coat. Heat seeps into her fingers and toes. She sits and trembles, more from adrenaline than cold. Her hands fold around a cup of some weak tea. The fish are wrapped. Trust stitches itself, tiny and uncertain, around the memory of feathers. Night comes soft and quick. She looks out the small window and waits for the curious return of those great wings. They do not arrive. Months of solitude have taught her how to fill the quiet with work. But this quiet is different. It has an absence that is almost a voice. She pins a note beside the stove. Directions, days, the small ledger of her life. Under the lamp, she notices a scrap that was not there before. A printed poster, the edges dog-eared. A photograph of a woman, herself. Wanted, it says. Reward, smaller. Her hands shake so the lamp stutters. Outside, the dusk hides footprints that were not made by the eagle. Fresh tracks cut the snow toward the cabin, heavy and deliberate, as if someone measured the slow, patient approach of a man. She watches the path until the dark swallows it. The cabin feels suddenly small. The wood smells faintly of smoke and of things that stay. She thinks of the eagle and the train and a bucket of fish. Fear kindles into a different shape, a human shadow who moves with intent rather than hunger. Morning brings the tracks again, tire grooves like a tail laid down across the white. The poster's words haunt her. She locks the door, bundles a small sack, and follows. Not because she seeks conflict, but because the presence of those tire marks promises answers. The eagle's absence has made a question live inside her like a living thing. She needs to know whether the bird's visit was accident, curiosity, or barometer for something larger. Enough years have taught her that unanswered things will not leave a person in peace. The mountains rise like folded paper. Wind carves the sky. Each step up the slope feels heavier than the last. Her breath is a staccato instrument. Layers of clothes rub as she climbs. She follows the tire marks until they vanish under drifting. She follows anyway. The landscape is honest and cold. It tells the exact temperature without flinching. Her fingers begin to betray her again. Small things that were once trivial, tying a knot, setting a foot, become exercises in patience and prayer. Then the snow gives. A soft protest, a crack that sounds like dry bone. She has one foot on a patch of ice that is only skin deep. The world tilts. The fall is sudden and cold and bright. Water takes her with a shock so sharp her lungs forget their purpose for a beat. Below the surface, everything is a blur of white and moving dark. She kicks. She does not think of heroic things. She thinks of the cabin, of the taste of the fish, of the soft press of feathers against a cheek. She claws for purchase. The icy fingers of the current pull at her coat. She swims for the thin light above. Water bites at her lungs. The world squeezes. Her hands find the lip of ice and slide, then grip. Her knuckles are raw. She scrambles, every motion an argument with the cold. It takes more than bravery. It takes the stubbornness of someone who has been alive in a lonely place for a long time. She drags herself onto the glacier, wet and coughing, the cold seeping like a rumor. She lies there afterward, panting, while the wind stitches patterns on her hair. Her body is a map of small injuries. Her chest heaves. The world is quiet in the way it had been after the train, expectant, as if waiting to see whether she will choose one more step or none at all. She looks up. The sky is the same pale blue as the day the eagle saved her. There is no bird. There is only the wide, unknowable sky and the miles of white that lead back to a cabin and a life and a poster that called her a wanted thing. She does not know why the eagle came. She does not know whether the tracks belong to the man whose face stared from the paper. She knows how cold can take pieces of you and how stubbornness can put them back together. She knows that some rescues leave questions tethered to them, small, sharp things she will carry like stones in her pockets. She pulls her coat tight. She tastes metal in her mouth. She stands, slow as a prayer, and begins to walk back toward the trail that will take her home. Her feet make new prints over the old ones. At moments, she stops and looks up, searching the horizon for the shadow of a great wing. Hope lives in that.